Hello, and welcome to Guidance for a Better Life. Today's show is different than most of our shows. Today's show is not so uplifting and fun. It's actually a very important show, I believe, for some of you now and maybe some of you in the future. But it's about very difficult decisions and making them. The genesis of today's show was during a decision-making retreat up here last summer. A few people started talking about having to back away from loved ones. And it became somewhat emotional and difficult, but I think I learned something that I hope will help you. One of my good friends, a young lady, grew up in Colorado, and her mom's still there. And her mom has become a very, very serious and heavy drug user. She thinks of nothing else, barely talks to the family. She's barely functioning. And my friend brought up in class the decision she made to back away. She still loves her mom, but she found the stress emotionally, financially, flying out to see her mom, and all the help she tried to give her is simply made no difference or seemed to make no difference. So my friend decided, and she shared with the class, she still loves her mom, she prays for her mom, but my friend basically had to save herself, and she made the decision to pretty much back away and leave her mom as not part of her life anymore. We had another person, that started the conversation. We had another couple who decided to back away from their son. He went, you might say, to the very negative side. He lost any light in his eyes. I don't use this term, but some would say he went to the devil and really changed significantly. And as much as the family loves their son and still loves him, they basically had to make a decision not to be around him anymore. And this is tough. So I want to give you a metaphor. These are just two examples. And as we talked, other people shared going through this difficult decision to basically save themselves while still loving a loved one. And we came up with a metaphor during that discussion that I think will help if you're in this situation or you find yourself in this situation. Imagine the mom who's taking drugs is up on a very, very, very tall building on an edge, ready to jump. Or the person that's gone to a very bad place, still living, but is not the same person they raised. That person being up on this tall building on a ledge, or if you have a situation, whatever it may be, this person, whatever the situation is, they're up on a ledge, ready to jump off this very tall building. And you're there close, trying to talk them out of jumping, like the young lady, a friend of mine, trying to talk her mom out of drugs, or this couple that missed their son, trying to talk him out of a certain way of life that he's gone to. Imagine that person you love has already jumped. Would it make any sense to jump after them and lose your life, your emotional stability, your finances, your time and energy, if that person you love has already jumped? Then the choice is already made for you. At this point, it's not as difficult as you might think. That person has jumped. You no longer can help that person. So the choice is to move on with your own life while maintaining the love, unless something dramatic changes. And I hope this idea of the person's on the ledge and they have already jumped makes sense. If they haven't jumped, then of course you keep trying. But in the two cases I mentioned, for all practical purposes, this loved one already jumped, and it's time to get off the tall building and go on about your life. The important thing here is that if you make that decision to do it clearly and not to have guilt. Because if you carry guilt for saving yourself and continuing your own life and not jumping off with them, then it sort of defeats the purpose. Because guilt, if you drag guilt around, around, it's very damaging to you. It closes your heart, and it's more difficult to love. So guilt is not a helpful thing. So I hope this show helps you. If you make the decision based on the circumstance that you may have now, or you know somebody that's in this situation, maybe share this video, or you can paraphrase it and tell them about the example. If they're friends on a tall building ready to jump and you've done everything you can, but that loved one has decided on their own to jump and they're not able to take any more help, it's time to save yourself and survive and live the best life you can. Keep the love, but you just don't want to go down with them. And I know this is tough, but I did this video in the hopes it will really, really help somebody out there. And this is one of those videos I would really ask that you would make a comment when you see this played with the idea of helping somebody else make these decisions. They need to be made, and I hope they can make them where it's not quite so difficult. It becomes an obvious choice. Your loved one jumped. There's nothing more you can do. So please share this with others, and if you have something you can add to this video, to the comments section, please do so. I really hope people in this condition where they have a loved one that's pretty well gone, I'd love to help them make this difficult decision without feeling guilty. So please help me on that if you would. And the next show we do will be much more uplifting and enlightening, but I felt I needed to share this with you. Thank you for watching, and please add comments, and please help somebody you know in this position move on without guilt. Thank you. I love you, and God loves you.